No matter how you want to slice it, no matter how you want to slice it, it was a beatdown. It was a beatdown. The Minnesota Lynx came out and they put the pressure, put the heat on the Fever early on in the game, and they couldn't capitalize off of that, especially in the second quarter when the Fever went on a run. And the thing about the Minnesota Lynx is that it's all good when you are doing the hunting, but as soon as you become the hunter, it's like things get a little bit dicey, things get a little bit tricky, and that's what separates true championship teams. That's what separates the best teams of the best. And when we're looking at the Minnesota Lynx, they came out, they thought shit was sweet, to be honest. They thought that the Indiana Fever were going to lay down, we're going to give them a victory because Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. But when you got Kelsey Mitchell on your team, when you got Aaliyah Boston on your team, when you got Natasha Howard on your team, they got real players this year. It's not just Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell show or the Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell show. No, they got players and they got more depth and they got players that can contribute and they got players that are designed to play certain roles. So the Minnesota Lynx, they came out and they jumped on the Fever early. They start feeling themselves. They got a little cocky. They were feeding off the home crowd. And then that second quarter happened when the Indiana Fever went on their run and they were up 27-14 Minnesota, and they didn't score for the last 8 minutes in the second quarter. And that was beautiful basketball being played by the Fever. Shout out to Stephanie White, her putting the Fever offense in positions to score, in positions to dominate. That quarter changed the tide for this entire game and gave the Indiana Fever the confidence they needed to go out and continue to dominate and to win this game. It was a beatdown. I don't want people to get it twisted. It wasn't a close game. It wasn't a close game, this Commissioner's Cup. And we know what's at stake. When the players are playing for more money, this is a WNBA. We know about the salaries. We know about the things that they complain about. $500,000 prize pool, that's $30,000 to $40,000 for every individual, plus a $5,000 bonus for the MVP. Players want this money. This money that they're receiving in the Commissioner's Cup is the type of bonus winning this game is damn near more money than in the playoffs. So the players wanted it, and they're out competing because it's real money on the line. It's real things at stake. And shout out to the Indiana Fever because this was just a great victory. This was a statement win. This is a win that they can carry momentum heading into the second half of the season. This is also a moral victory for the Indiana Fever because they know that Caitlin Clark, take your time. When you're healthy, come back. We don't want you playing 50%. We don't want you playing 75%. We don't even want you playing 80 to 90%. We want you 100% because when you're on our team and we have you 100%, we know we can be very dangerous. But they have a team that can compete and win games and be in big matchups and win big matchups even without Caitlin Clark. And that's very, very important for the morale, for the momentum, for just them being in the mindset of, you know what? Yes, we know Caitlin Clark is our best player, but you know what? We are still capable to go out and to win big games and to play well even without her. So it's Natasha Howard. This was her best game of the season for the Indiana Fever. And I know she only shot like 5 from 15 from the floor, but this was her best game on both sides of the basketball court. Offensively, she had 16 points, 12 rebounds. Offensively, in the half court, Stephanie White was giving her the ball at the elbow. She was having a two-man game with Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston was suing her man. Natasha Howard was getting the ball in the elbow, either driving to the rim or passing the ball to Aaliyah Boston. She was kind of like playing a point forward position today for the Indiana Fever, as well as guarding the Festa Collar. She had Collar in jail. She was the primary defender on Collar tonight, who is the MVP. Well, the front runner of the MVP until tonight's game, because some people are going to say, well, this was the difference between Festa Collar and Aja Wilson. And when we talk about that overall aggression, when we talk about just she just seems like as talented as she is, she just sometimes she's too nice on the basketball court. You had Aaliyah Boston, and shout out to Aaliyah Boston because she didn't shoot the ball well, but she still ended up ending the game with a double double. You had Aaliyah Boston barking at Nafessa Collar, chirping at her, going at her. Like, and I've never seen Aaliyah Boston like that before. And the fact that she was doing that, the fact that she was coming to her like that means that we don't care who you are. You're not about to punk us. And that's the mentality of this Indiana Fever team that's different from last year. Aaliyah Boston, everybody, oh, she's so nice. She's sweet. They used to call her a little soft on the basketball court. Not this year. You can't call this Indiana Fever team soft because they got real dogs on the team, and they all feed off that momentum. They also feed off that hatred that is really the Fever against the world. We saw that with the ranking where they ranked Aaliyah Boston the ninth best center in the league. They ranked Caitlin Clark the ninth best center in the league. It's the Fever versus the entire WNBA. It's the Fever versus the world, and they kind of all have gravitated towards that mentality, and I like it. I like it. It's just like if you're gonna make us the villain, then we're gonna be the villain. And there's nothing wrong with that because you don't have to worry about people liking you. You don't have to worry about what people saying. You don't have to worry about the pettiness, the jealousy, the hatred, whatever you want to call, whatever you want to slice it, because that's what it is when it comes to the Indiana Fever. That's what it is when it comes to the Caitlin Clark being ranked number 9, Aaliyah Boston being ranked number 9 by their peers. It's laughable. So, but this was a big time victory. This was a big time win. Belt to ass is what the Fever did to the Minnesota Lynx this game. It was a blowout. It was a beatdown, and this is a statement game. This was a statement win. Winning this cup, winning this tournament, winning this prize money, doing it without Caitlin Clark. This was an embarrassing loss for the Minnesota Lynx. Not only do you lose on your home court, you lost with the opposing team's best player not even on the floor. And you can't even say the Fever, it was a close game or it was neck and neck. No. The Fever went on that run in the second quarter when they were down 27-14, ended that second quarter up 32 to 27. They were down 27-14. They ended that game. They ended that quarter 32-27. Then they were off from halftime off to the races. This was a big time win for the Indiana Fever and an embarrassing loss for the Minnesota Lynx. And now it brings into question Nafesta, Miss Collar. It brings into question that some people are going to say, like, is she really the best in the world? Because they're going to talk about if that was Aja Wilson, you think Aja Wilson going out like that? Just off of the fact of the lack of aggression that you didn't see from Nafessa Collar. And it's a great, and let me talk, and McDonald. And I'm going to be honest. The best thing that could have happened for the Indiana Fever was DeWanna Bonner quitting on the Indiana Fever because it gave room for the Indiana Fever to sign McDonald. McDonald was a lottery pick. She was in a national championship game in college. The girl is a hooper. She is a pest. She's a two-way player. She gets up defensively in guards. She plays with energy. She can handle the ball. She can score. She was in double figures tonight. And I was saying even before we knew DeWanna Bonner won it out, I was saying that they should have released Sydney Colson over McDonald, but they didn't do that, of course. But McDonald being on his team is going to make a difference come the playoffs. And we're seeing it even this in the regular season so far. She fits the Indiana Fever seamlessly. The Indiana Fever have a guard for the future. She's going to be a part of the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark's tenure with the Indiana Fever for a very long time. Yeah, it's sad. Boston's a beast this year. I never saw Fee aggressive. Yeah, it was. Let me tell you something. Boston has had her coming out party this year. Boston is extremely talented. Boston, when her and Caitlin Clark are on the court, it's very beautiful. It's like it's that point guard to center combination is very, very special. But Fee was not aggressive. And Boston's a beast this year. And when she attacked Fee, and when I say attack, went to her in the chest, got that foul. Fee said something to her. She turned around and started chirping at her. I said, yeah, Boston is here now. Because you have never have thought of Boston being that way her rookie year or her sophomore year. Boston's a sweetheart. And she's been called soft by individuals in the media, soft by players because of the way she carries herself. But I think the Indiana Fever collectively are all getting tired. They're getting tired of the disrespect. They're getting tired of the hatred. They're getting tired of the media lack of. They're getting tired of how they're covered by some media members and the hate that they kind of receive from certain media members because there's a lot of favoritism, a lot of media darlingness for certain individuals in comparison to other players. And it seems like you got people coming out even agreeing with the fact that just because the players have said that Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark are the ninth best at their position, that means that their word is bond. That lets me know that, like, we've gotten to the point where it has nothing to do with basketball anymore because no actual basketball mind can fix their lips and say that Caitlin Clark is the ninth best guard, not player, guard in the WNBA. Nobody can sit and fix their mind and say that Aaliyah Boston is the ninth best center in the WNBA. And I don't care if it's WNBA players. I don't care if the peers are saying it. I don't care who's saying it. And then it goes back to the thing that how people just think just because players play at the highest level that automatically means that they know what they're talking about. And that just means that they have an edge over media members or fans and people who analyze the game. Yes, there's significant advantages that you may have because you see the game differently or you're playing at the highest level than the casual fan or a media member or a player that or a person that just played in college and didn't go off to the professional level. That is true. But it's also true that just because you have an opinion or you have reached the top of your profession does not mean that you can analyze talent. That does not mean that you can talk about the game. That does not mean that just because you played at the highest level, you can be a great coach or even be great in the media. Because there's plenty of guys that have formerly played the game professionally, where on the women's side, on the men's side, when they talk about the game, it's clear they're not even watching the game. It's clear they don't even know what they're talking about. So it's crazy. Dexter says Caitlin Clark is overrated. Dexter, you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. She's been hurt. She's missed half the season. Calling Caitlin Clark overrated. You could say that Caitlin Clark may have some areas in her game she needs to improve, but calling her overrated when she's the most schemed basketball player in the WNBA is asinine. It's idiotic. It goes back to what I just said. It's beyond anything that has to do with on the basketball court when they talk about Caitlin Clark. Nobody can have an honest conversation. Nobody's having honest conversations. And that's the sad part. I'm all about people. I'll sit with the opposition. I'll hear you out. I will hear you out. But at the end of the day, I need to hear real life facts and not feelings. That's what I need to hear. I'm sorry, how many have had 3 threes in 38 seconds? That's insane, and dropping downs like she does. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into like we people gonna hate. And the thing about it is you need haters. Just like you need fans, you need haters. When you reach a transcending level, when you reach greatness or superstar, you don't just become that based on just having fans. You become that by having haters as well. Why do you think LeBron James is so revered, or Kobe Bryant, or Stephen Curry? It's not just because they have fans, it's also because they have haters. That's very important. That's very important. And this win was very important for the Indiana Fever because they were down. They've been 8-8. They've been up and down. Caitlin Clark's out. She's in and out of the lineup. They're trying to find a rhythm. This was a statement and big time victory for Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever. Their first ever time winning the Commissioner's Cup. The road team has won the Commissioner's Cup all 4 years of its existence, including this year. But there's no excuses for the Minnesota Lynx. They're the best team in the WNBA. They have the MVP frontrunner. They are a team that's great defensively, one of the best defensive teams in the world, and they have arguably the best player in the world, at least this year, Nafessa Collar. And Fee just came out, wasn't aggressive. Fee came out not hitting the shots that she normally takes, and also Natasha Howard was her size, her length was bothering Fee. And she may be the player that you can consider the the Fee stopper. Like never would I thought I would see a day where Sophia Cunningham would have more points than Nafessa Collar. All right. That's what happened. And that's where we at with it. And that's where we at with it, chat. Great game. And Kelsey Mitchell is starting to find her rhythm. You know, these past 3 games, she's starting to find her rhythm. She's starting to be in form. And great things are ahead for the Indiana Fever. I think we're about to see them take their stride coming up in the second half of the season. I really do. Just like last year, it's all about Caitlin Clark getting healthy. As soon as Caitlin Clark gets healthy, then, and you don't want Caitlin Clark back until she's 100% healthy. Just like me. I ain't been streaming because I've been sick. Y'all don't want me back streaming. Y'all don't want me unless I'm good, energetic, talking about the game 100%. Same thing with Caitlin Clark. I don't want Caitlin Clark on the basketball court unless she's 100% because we already see that the team can compete without Caitlin Clark. They may not win. But they can compete. But this game shows you that they're capable of winning big games. They're capable of beating big-time teams even without Caitlin Clark, and that's something we couldn't have said last year. So if they have to play 3 to 4 more games without Caitlin Clark, you do what you got to do because you want her 100% healthy. You don't want her in and out of the lineup, and you don't want her coming back too quickly because one injury can lead to another injury, like we saw with the thigh, which led to the groin and stuff like that. So but I appreciate y'all, man, hopping in chat. And it's crazy. Have y'all seen what's going on with the Malik Beasley situation in the NBA? Like, he owes like his management company $2.5 million. They gave him a $650,000 loan, and was fighting for his life. The man almost bet on himself and won. It's crazy. It's crazy. He had a 3-year, $42 million contract on the table. And then apparently he's being seen by the FBI. They're investigating him. The Detroit Pistons pulled that contract, gave that contract to Chris Duncan, to Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat. And this, you got to read the story. It's crazy what's going on with Malik Beasley right now. but he almost bet on himself and won. But what's in the dark comes to light. And if he's betting on games and he was fighting for his life, literally, that's why he had a breakout year. He was literally fighting for his life. Florence Campbell, what's up? CC, yeah. Got to get her back healthy, man. Got to get her back healthy. What's up? Y'all got any questions in the chat before I get up out of here? Before I skedaddle, appreciate y'all for hopping in live after the game. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to your boy. And make sure you follow me on AKIS NBA and all the social media platforms talking about WNBA and the NBA, of course. Always remember, faith without works is dead. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, and always acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I'm gone, man. Peace.